All right, well, welcome. It's good to see your faces. It's been a crazy fall for many of us, I know. Don and I are happy to be here with you, and I think are the slides showing? You have the
Yes.
okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll be the slideshow projector person and let Donna kind of take the lead on walking us through, and I'll add a few things given that I've been, I've done this for about 20 years, but it's always fun to learn from somebody else. And Donna's relatively new with the Academy in terms of moving all the way through the program. So anyway, welcome from California, the home of big rainstorms that we're sending your way with hopefully full of snow. Go ahead, Donna.
So, good morning, everyone. It's great to see all of you, and I'm seeing some of you on the chat saying that you have to scoot a little early. Not a problem. Quite honestly, this shouldn't be a long meeting for us. 30 minutes at the max is what we're going to shoot for. But we certainly hope that since we saw you in June, your journey has been a good one. And if it's going as well as we hope, you are working feverishly through many of the objectives and goals that you identified in your IPDIP. And that's really what the purpose of this mid-year reconnect is. And clearly, colleagues, that's what the purpose of your mid-year report is all about. But remember, we've shared with you numerous times when we were together, we know you're busy. And so when we make these valiant efforts to do an IPDIP and a map, like David is kindly bringing up, we know that it might be challenging to accomplish even 50% of them during the course of your academic year. But when we move forward and we talk about revising and updating, this is the time, if you've not pulled it out, if you've not kept it close to you, this is the time to pull it out and to start doing a very honest, reflective review. David and I both shared with you, this is not cast in stone, especially your IPDIP. Your map shouldn't change throughout the course of the year. Your IPDIP may indeed change, and it most likely is changing as we speak. So please don't be alarmed when we tell you it's important to revise and update as needed. And David and I will both reiterate this when we meet with you individually during our coaching sessions.
In fact, we expect that. We want you to pull out your IPDIP, look at what was perhaps very ambitious and maybe not possible, or maybe you had a change of direction and you thought you were going to be working on this committee or this project or this, and you ended up working on something else that was brought to you or assigned to you. And so this is the time to review that document and make revisions to it that basically identify where you are now. Some reflection, as Donna said, and then also some projection. So based on where you are now, what you've learned what you've seen and experienced over the last 4 or 5 months, what is going to be on your agenda? What's going to be your focus for your professional development packaging moving forward into June when we get together again?
So, colleagues, again, as we've been reiterating, it's important to go back and review your Session 1 Academy assessments. I know for many of you, you used those assessments to help write your objectives in your IPDIP, especially for those of you who perhaps had LPI feedback from colleagues and peers that perhaps became a shock to you, or you didn't quite see yourself in that particular circumstance, and you knew you wanted to work on that closely this year. And so please, by all means, go back and review your DISC and review your LPIs. Remember, as we move forward, I know I'm jumping ahead, but as we move forward, you will be doing the LPI again. Please remember that. You won't be doing another disc, but you will be doing the LPI in session and for session 2 as well.
The other piece I would recommend is when you look at your assessments from our first session, and then you look at your IPDIP, ask yourself how those two intersect. Because I found years ago when I was doing this that I was frustrated about some of my progress and how I'd been, moving through some of what my plan was. And then I realized, well, it's because this is one of my strengths, but I don't have this piece. And the place where the project is stuck is I need to find either a way to bring this strength out in me. It might be my number 34, and I need to raise it up, or I need to find some people to help me get that piece done. So we really want you to use your assessments as a way to reflect on your ongoing IPDIP. Another area that we haven't talked to you a lot about, there's some, I say this with a little bit of apology, but also with a bit of explanation. The coaching component of the program is really set up to be a one instance event that usually occurs around the time that you submit your mid-year report. And that's when, and Donna will talk about it, that's when we usually schedule a call, or we will schedule a call with each and every one of you. Usually it's 30 minutes, sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's longer, and sometimes it's more frequent beyond that. But that coaching call is really to address, okay, let's take a mid-year review. Let's see where you are. And one of the things that we'll talk about even more is where you are with your mentor. Some of you, how many of you have had a really positive experience? Let's use fist of 5. Remember, 5 meaning I've had an amazing experience with my mentor. 1 meaning, not very good. And so where are you? Just good. So well, that's pretty impressive. April, how about you? You were, in terms of a mentor, that experience, how's that going?
We can't hear you, April.
She's typing it in, maybe. I'm not sure. But I'm impressed to see that most of you have had a very good experience. When we talk, and in your mid-year reflection report, and we'll talk more about what goes into it, that is something that you can also include is, an update on your mentoring. We want to make sure that continues. And
colleagues, I will tell you, and I know David will ask too, it is part of what we will ask you when we meet with you individually. How is that going? I can tell you, I just came off my coaching sessions for NELD, which, as many of you may remember, was the week before I met you. So I came from 2 back-to-backs. So NELD folks and I just wrapped up our coaching sessions last Friday. And I'm hearing some very mixed bags. And I've told some of your colleagues at NELD, look, it's not too late if you want to try to find another mentor. You still have from January to June. And many of you said, I would like to find a mentor that I can have for a while beyond the academy timeframe, which is great. So if you aren't getting what you need from that experience, it's really not too late to reach out and try to find someone else. That's important. And I'm a big fan that sometimes you need more than one mentor. If for example, and I use this with NELD folks, I said, if you know somebody at your college that is diplomatic and tactful and just shows, a strong, respectful presence, and you envy that, then you might want to say to that person, tell me how you do it. I need to do a better job at that. And they could help you. Maybe there's someone at your college who's incredibly politically correct, and you need to work on that. Maybe you could ask that person, can you give me some tips and some pointers? How can I get better at this, because you seem to do it so well? So it's not necessarily that you're going to find a one-size-fits-all mentor. And quite honestly, in my personal experience, colleagues, some of the best mentors I've had are peers. They weren't people with a title. They weren't above me. They may have been colleagues that just did stuff incredibly well, and I wanted to learn from them, and they were happy to help. David, would you like me to talk about the reflection report?
Why don't you go ahead and introduce
Okay,
it?
since I just got done reading a boatload of them, I can happily tell you that you will be expected to submit to David, if he's your coach, or myself, if I'm your coach, your mid-year reflection report. And that's going to be due Monday, January 23rd. So we're giving you a long weekend over, we were thinking of the 20th, and David said, let's give them the weekend, and we'll have them submit bright and early on a Monday, January 23rd. What does this report look like? Well, if you go to the Chair Academy site and you go to our Illinois site, you are going to see information about when we meet again. I know we've talked about this because Donna got the dates wrong, remember? We're a little later this year, so thank you, Emily, and those of you who reminded me the dates were wrong. When you get to that site, you are going to see mid-year reports, and there will be 2 samples there for you to see. One of the samples is a PowerPoint sample. If you're a PowerPoint person and you like it, then that might be something you want to submit to us. What do we want to see in this report, whether it's a PowerPoint, whether it's a narrative? And again, David, feel free to jump in here. I can tell you, I will clearly want to see how are you doing in your IPDIP goals. That's very important for us. Now, be honest with us. If you write, I'm acing this, I knocked this out of the ballpark, this is already done, then you might be writing, this is work in progress. And you might also be writing, I have not gotten to this yet. So when you write that and we talk about it, I can tell you I'm going to ask you to prioritize, because we might say, oh, we've got from January to June, it's a boatload of time, not a problem. And I'm going to tell you January to June is going to fly like this. So if there are things on your IPDIP you haven't gotten to yet, now is the time to prioritize. Now is the time to say, what are the 2 or 3 most important goals and objectives I have not tackled that I honestly and realistically believe I can between now and mid-June? And then concentrate on them. But we would like to see, where are you from June to January? That's the purpose of a mid-year. How are you doing on the objectives that you identified? Colleagues, I'm going to jog your memory because some of you were guilty of this. Many of you, when you were doing that IPDIP, were writing, all seven areas, 7 headers, and we kept saying, you only need 5, you only need 5. No, I want to get that done. I want to tackle this. And remember, David and I both kept saying, be realistic here. Remember, you're busy folks. Just concentrate on what you believe are most important for you and for your institution. Because remember, David and I both shared with you that IPDIP is personal and professional. Many of you wrote, I want to do yoga. I want to meditate more. I need to do a better job at work-life balance. And then some of you wrote very professional, goals. And we said, remember, it's important to concentrate on being your whole healthy self at work. That means concentrating on the professional goals you set for yourself and the personal goals you set for yourself. Does anyone have any questions on what this mid-year reflection report should look like? And remember, we do not want a thesis. We want a brief summary of January to June. A brief summary, realistic, honest, do not worry. I had one person last week kept apologizing. I'm so sorry, you're going to see that I didn't get to this. I'm sorry, I haven't gotten to this. And I said, this is very common. It's very common. There's nothing to apologize about. Let's talk about what's left to accomplish.
And let's talk about your time management skills. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. What I found, people sometimes worry about how long or how to structure, and I think Donna's laid that out pretty well. Usually your IPDIP is a good way to kind of structure and address each one of those areas. If I don't think we're not really interested. It's for you. You're writing it for yourself. It doesn't get shared with anybody else other than us. It doesn't go to supervisors. It doesn't get recorded. It doesn't even go to the academy anymore. We used to collect them all, but we don't. We don't send them into the academy. It is a guide piece for our conversation. So if one of you that is working with me, and I have the pleasure of coaching with you, and you write, one area I'm really struggling with is this, and I would like to kind of talk this through, that would be an appropriate thing to put into this reflection report. So and I have had people do entire videos. There was a video production faculty in Pima, Arizona that did a movie on herself, and it was like a home video. It was really cute, and it was very informative, something that she could use, in other options. Another faculty member was becoming the head of the faculty senate, and that was not how she got into the academy, was because of that role. She was just a department chair at large, but she used the reflection report to really look at leadership goals, plans, skills, abilities, strengths, and how they would help her move forward as the new faculty senate president. Fascinating reflection that really built on the foundational concepts that we had talked about in week 1. So there's a lot of options there. Some people just take 2 or 3 pages and outline an update and what they plan on doing next with their IPDIP. But I guess to Donna's point, that's the fodder that we have to feed our conversation when we talk with you later this month in February. Any questions about where that document goes? That it needs to be your own personal style, that almost anything goes, but we do need, it's for you, and we need something that reflects your efforts at thinking about where you are on this particular journey.
I don't see any hands raised. Okay.
Let me go ahead and talk about scheduling these coaching calls. And we all do it a little bit differently as facilitators, but I like the way that Donna does it. The way I normally do it, and I think, Donna, you please add if you have a slightly different way, but we will be sending out emails. I've used scheduling software before, and I might do that again, where I send out like a doodle poll or one of the appointment scheduling apps and ask you to just pick one. But I have a lot of flexibility, and life happens, and some of you, the dog's going to get out and you're going to have to go home and find your dog and miss your meeting. I mean, it's those kinds of things. So there will be quite a bit of flexibility, but we'll put together schedules for the end of this month, the week of the 23rd, and then into February. And usually I'll be frank, I usually go on and do these calls for several weeks, depending on your schedules. And the other piece is, my schedule's busy too. I've got, I don't know how many tenure committees, evaluations, and 3 search committees, and part-time faculty hiring that I have to do in the next 3 days. And you all know what I mean by that. I mean, it's just, so be patient with me, and I will send you that schedule. Donna, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I do it just a little bit differently. What will happen, I've scheduled Tuesday, January 24th, Wednesday, January 25th, and Thursday, January 26th to meet with my coaching team. I've already penciled in times and dates. That's how I like to do it. So I'll be writing to each of you saying, I penciled you in for this day at this time. Does it work? If it doesn't work, then I scheduled Friday, January 27th as my next date. That's how I do it. So I kind of find when people go, well, it doesn't matter to me, but it has to be before this time, but after that time, I just issue a time and I give you a half an hour of that time. And then, because to me, that's all we really need. And then, if it doesn't work, then I'll put you on another time slot. But I will tell you, if you write back to me and say, Donna, Tuesday, January 24th at 10 a.m. works for me, I'm going to write, great, send me a Zoom invite, because you'll be responsible for initiating the Zoom. I'll hit yes, and then immediately goes into my Google Calendar. Okay, so for me, that seems to work best. I know some people use Doodle, some do, other ways to do it. I just find that I issue a time for most of my team. They seem that it works. I'll take it. Great. Send me the Zoom link, and of course, please remember, I will need to see your mid-year report because I want to reflect on that together with you when we chat. Okay, so I'm starting mine the day after your mid-year report is due, assuming that you're all going to get them in on time. And if you get them done earlier, no problem on my end. David, I'm sure it won't be on yours either. If you get it done earlier than the 23rd, just send it when it's done. This way I have it. And I have 2 laptops going at home, and I'll be reflecting and chatting with you at the same time.
I'm looking forward to being semi-retired, Donna. I wish I could take 3 days and block them out and schedule you all in.
Well, it works for me with my travel schedule. I really have to do it because I'm in Jersey right now. I'm not even in Florida. So it works for me. Yeah, it works. But everybody does it a little different.
Yeah. I also wanted to jump into a little bit about what we can expect this coming spring. We'll be looking at these. This is kind of our general layout. It is outlined in your manual materials, so if you would refer to them. But Rose right now, the executive director, is revamping a few sections, and we'll be revising some of this. But these are the major topics for spring. So looking ahead and how these topics affect you and your work and your IPDIP might be helpful. Certainly these topics continue to be important to all of us as leaders working in academia. Organizational culture, I probably do something or am impacted by organizational culture issues on a daily basis. My guess is you probably are too. I'm looking at high trust leadership. We had a wonderful conference in Arizona this last fall with Stephen Covey talking about his book on speed of trust and trust. Fascinating session and so important and so difficult to create, high trust cultures. And then we'll be spending quite a bit of time with change, and we have a wonderful change model that Barbara Troutline out of University of Michigan has developed that we use. So we'll be giving and sharing with you a variety of tools for you to choose from that are principle based, so that you can make it work and fit into your style and your models. But we will share those with you. And then we'll have a wonderful dinner again on Thursday evening. We'll get together. I hope that you all had a smile when you opened up the picture that I sent out with the reminder last week. That was a wonderful evening that we had. We'll do that again this year. And then on Friday, we'll have our graduation ceremony with the presentation of the certificates. So it's a lovely week. We're looking forward to coming back to Champaign for that opportunity. And any questions about what this week looks like? Again, the dates are June 19th through 23rd.
I don't see any questions.
Okay, last, we just want to make sure that a reminder about this is just some summary. We'll send this out to you again, but that's our page. And thank you also, Emily, for posting this and putting this in the chat. Thank you. The schedule's you can see what we're looking at there, so you can plan ahead. Do the best you can. I know that spring is a busy time. Lots of family things going on, lots of school things going on. Plan ahead. Get this mapped into your calendar now. It's always understandable, but kind of sad when someone says, "Well, I have to leave on Wednesday night," and you're really missing a lot in our opinion. But we understand that there can be conflicts, but we're trying to minimize those kinds of conflicts. Try to give a gift to yourself. Your college is helping support you on this journey, and if you can make sure that you are there and with us through Friday at 1:30, that would be great. Daniela, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Donna if she could send the dates and invitations early rather than later, as that week might be pretty busy.
Sure. To be honest, I'm in New Jersey with my clients, and so I fly home Thursday morning, and I was going to send them out Thursday
Okay,
afternoon, if that's okay.
sounds great.
You'll
Thank
have it by
you.
Friday. Yeah, yeah,
Thank
you'll have
you.
it by Friday. It's already done. It's all penciled in, but I need to email and write them all down.
Okay, thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
And I have a question. When did you say the mid report is due?
23rd.
The 23rd
Yeah.
of January?
Yeah. 2 weeks from yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And don't overthink it, Danielle. I mean, it's, it's just whatever, make it what you want it to be. Whatever works in a 2-week framework, but try to hit that target earlier or no later than the 23rd.
So as we wrap up, what happens next? What will we prepare for as we get ready to meet again for session number 2? The Academy will be scheduling a virtual meeting with all of us within 1 month prior to when we meet again in Champaign. We'll discuss, like we just did, a final version of session 2 schedule, the assessments as we talked about, because you'll be completing an LPI again, your final reflection report. So please let me share with you, like I just shared with our NELD colleagues, your final report will simply pick up from your mid-year report. Remember, reports submitted to David and myself are not cumulative. Your mid-year is June to January, your final report, January to June. Okay, that's where when you meet with us and we realistically talk about what can you accomplish between now and June that you haven't had a chance to accomplish yet, that's what you'll be sharing with us in your final report. Okay, what to bring to session 2? Well, you don't have to bring a whole lot. You get a brand new workbook for session 2. So you'll have a brand new workbook. David and I will be covering like we did in session 1. And David mentioned we'll be having dinner again. So for some of you that might be packing to come to Parkland, just remember that you might want to bring it in a change of clothes if you wish, for at least one night that we go out together. But very much like session 1, we're going to provide you, we'll have highlighters, we'll have pens, we'll have Post-it notes, we'll have everything you need to take some notes, and you'll have a workbook very much like session 1. You do not have to bring session 1's workbook with you. Am I missing anything, David?
No, just want to make sure everyone has a chance to ask any questions. I'm kind of scanning back through the chat to make sure there are no unanswered questions there. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
David and Donna, if I can just pop in, I know I can speak for my Parkland colleagues and friends that we are so looking forward to hosting again and seeing everyone on campus. David and Donna included, looking forward to that.
We're excited to come back. We really are. It's great.
We're grateful. Parkland was a wonderful location and a great host, so thank you for that. It's also good to see some of you from outside of Illinois. Thank you for being on the call. That's good. We I often say that what makes some of these state programs or regional programs work are these wonderful outliers that bring these amazing ideas. So thank you for that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the recording. Wish you all well. Look forward to hearing from you in the next couple of weeks and then speaking with at least half of you sometime later this month or early in February. Are all of us here, with the exception of Donna, beginning spring semesters, like are already, yes?
Yeah. Yep.
So no one has a winter term. None of us have a Jan term or a wind term or something. Yeah, you do?
Well, we had one. It was a short one. It was short. I think 4 weeks. One for winter term. Yeah, we did have one.
When does it get over?
It was actually over last week, Friday.
Okay. Wow, over the break. Wow. I love that idea. We'll talk more. All right. Thank you very much. It's good to see you all. Happy New Year.
Thanks, everyone.
New Year. Thanks.
Stay
you.
well. Happy New Year.